All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Zyna Obasi. I'm the host of the Waiting Room with Zyna, and I'm also the author of this Zyna's Waiting Room, which actually gave rise to this talk show. So Zyna's Waiting Room is what led to the talk show, The Waiting Room with Zyna, where we talk about the challenges in the waiting room, and we tend to use this platform to reach out to everyone and anyone who is in the waiting room and give them whatever advice, whatever guide we can give, and bringing in professionals in the infertility world to talk to them and help them out in whatever way they can. We also have a chat room on Telegram, where we kind of have formed a system where we talk to people and serve as a support to everyone who needs help. So welcome again. And now I've been joined by my amazing daughter. I can't say to, you know, when you have toddlers, she ran away from her nanny and crashed into my office. Okay, go back to your meeting, okay? Mommy's in a meeting, okay? Say hello. Hello. Okay.
Hello, sweetie.
This is the gift of God to me after 17 years of waiting, and
yes.
And she has been an amazing addition to the family. We thank God and we love her so much. Hmm?
Hello.
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 Then you go and do your thing, okay? All right.
Hello.
See you.
Bye.
All right. See you. Bye. So that was my gift, my pandemic gift.
Yes, sir.
God bless us with that amazing bundle of joy, and it's been wonderful since then, putting this amazing smile on my face. And she came to adoption, you know. So today we're going to talk about surrogacy. We did talk about surrogacy last Friday, but the network was so poor that our guest was so gracious. She said she was going to give us another time to talk about it. So please join me without too much ado to welcome Mrs. Toyin Lolu Ogumade. Yay! She is the CEO and founder of Precious Conceptions. This company, she's going to tell us more about what she does. She is into this family building thing, helping families to smile through surrogacy, through IVF, anything. If you're waiting, she's the number to call. So she's here out of her busy schedule to put us through. Today we're talking about surrogacy. So she's going to help us to understand the concept much more better, because some of us don't even know jack about that topic. So I'm going to throw over the the fun and everything to her so she can start, because she has a lot of things to do. So welcome again, my sister Toyin. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Zyna. Thank you, Zyna. It's my pleasure being here again today. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And good afternoon, everybody. It's afternoon here in Lagos, Nigeria, where we're live on this show. I don't know where you'll be watching from. So hello and greetings to you all.
Are you muted?
You were muted for a second.
Oh, so I was muted for a second. I'm sorry about that. Okay. All right. So we're going to start today by inviting her to talk about the concept surrogacy. First of all, we're going to start with that. As you tell us what is surrogacy, when you explain it, then more questions will come. But of course, I'll be listening attentively, because sometimes a guest tends to cover even more than one topic while discussing other questions to throughout. And when I'm done with my questions, there might be things that I probably did not touch on. You would know, and you would want us to know, so you just cover that for us. So let me start with what is, okay, no, sorry, before I go there, let us hear about your story. How did you get here? Let's start with that one, because you didn't say that you get here, yes.
Okay. You mentioned you waited 17 years and you had your daughter during the COVID pandemic. What an amazing blessing from the Almighty God. I waited 13 years, and I have a set of twins who are now 10 years old, a girl and a boy. They are 10 and a half, and they just started secondary school last week. And I had them through surrogacy. My surrogate mother is an Indian, and my children know who she is. They know how they were born, and it's a part of our everyday life. Yeah, yes, she's an Indian. I lived in India for 2 years whilst that process was on, and during that time, I decided I was going to do what I am doing today. In my previous life, I was in HR management. I've got 20 years plus HR career riding behind me. But when I was diagnosed with Asherman syndrome due to a post-fibroid surgery complication, and I didn't know where to talk. Okay, so let me go into my story now, and then I go into what I do. Yeah. So I had fibroids, and I managed fibroids for 6 years. And when it was becoming a nuisance, I decided to take them out, and 22 of them were removed. But unfortunately, I now had post-surgery complication, and it went on for another 3 years before I knew it had caused damage, a lot of damage. So by the time I got to know that I had additions, it was already the 10th year of my marriage, and I tried severally to remove the additions and then attempt to conceive, and it didn't happen. So after the second surgery, which was to correct that addition issue, the doctor here in Nigeria suggested that I should go for surrogacy, that was the only way out for me, that, the additions were severe, terribly bad. There was nothing they could do. But I was still hoping to carry a pregnancy myself. I mean, which woman would wake up one day and say, hey, I don't want to carry a pregnancy? It's very rare, very rare. Yeah. I wanted to carry a pregnancy myself and swell with the gift of a baby. So I thought to myself that I will still pursue some medical help. At the same time, I was researching surrogacy. This was year 2009. Nobody was talking about surrogacy in Nigeria. It wasn't a known thing. It was a Western thing. It was something you pick up and hear in the newspaper. Social media wasn't like this, there was no Zoom facility anywhere. There was no Instagram, nothing anywhere in 2009. It might be hard for some people to imagine, but that's where we were at that time. We didn't even have BlackBerry phones like that time. BlackBerry came, I think BlackBerry came in about that time, or, right about that time. So we didn't have all of this awareness, this global awareness and about surrogacy. And so I didn't know what to do. There was nobody to guide, nobody to handhold me. And my doctor said I should go and bring a surrogate. And I was like, where will I find surrogates? On the street of Lagos? How? So it was strange to me. It wasn't something I was interested in. I still wanted to try. But at the same time, because I had gone into the theater several times back to back, I was looking for a solution, and I didn't want to lose my life in the process. So my GP, family doctor, introduced us to a doctor in India who we had been carrying along whilst I was going through the surgeries. And he said I should come up to India and let's see what could be done. And worst case scenario, surrogacy. I was like, surrogacy again. So I went to India hoping to get a solution medically. And landing in India in March of 2010, and after all the investigations were done, the doctor said, sorry, it's only surrogacy you can do. There's nothing we can do with your uterus. It's completely damaged. And I was in India. There was no coming back to Nigeria. So I ended up staying. And I thought it was going to happen quickly because, now we're going to get a young lady with good womb and everything, transfer eggs. and voila, but it didn't happen. So I ended up staying in India for 2 years, going through IVF, surrogacy, 3 different times. It was the 3rd cycle that worked. God blessed us with a quadruplet pregnancy, but the twins made it to term. So whilst I was in hospital, at some point I was in the hospital for 4 months because I went through yet another surgery in India, and recovering and all, going through IVF, going through all of that. At some point, I was in hospital for 4 months. I decided in my heart that I was going to step up and speak up and offer solution and just bridge the gap and stop the stigmatization. One, number two, so for me, it was education and awareness, because you recall I was coming from Nigeria where nobody was talking about surrogacy. So primary for me was that I would step up and speak about surrogacy and enlighten people and let people know that, you know, there are different solutions rather than just flog your head up and down and try what is not working. Yeah. And the second thing was that I decided I was going to educate women about the various fertility options that are available and what they can do and how they can swing their advantage. So you hear me say advantage a lot. I'm the only one talking about advantage in this space. Okay, and so I spoke with my doctor and I said, look, this is what I have in mind. This is my burning vision now. And he decided to put me through training. So I was in school for 2 years whilst I was in India, in that ISO certified hospital, and it puts me through training, practical training, theoretical training, going through counseling, and different family building options. So that prepared me for what I do now. When I returned to Nigeria in 2012 with my twins, I still went back to corporate work, but I started doing what I do now, you know, on the side. And it started with a support group on BlackBerry, and then we emerged into WhatsApp, and then I ran a support group on WhatsApp for 4 years, talking to like 400 families plus, and then helping them get solutions. So all the things I did in India to achieve success, because I also managed PCOS, I now started practicalizing. I started teaching people, and I saw that people were getting solutions. So I said, yeah, it didn't only work for me, it's working for other people. So I now decided, you know what, let's give it some more structure, and Precious Conceptions came to be. So we've been in existence for like 7 years formally, and our first set of surrogate babies are about 7 years old now, and we've helped several people become parents. If we count all over the world, I'm sure we have not less than 100 precious babies. That is what we call them, all over the world. But on our record, we have 74. A lot of this were born through successful surrogacy arrangements in Nigeria, not in India, in Nigeria. So basically laying the structure for surrogacy in Nigeria, and then stepping out to talk about it boldly, granting interviews, sharing my story, and then writing my book, which is on the market. It's called Mom at Last, sharing my story. So I meet people on the street and they look at me and they say, you are familiar, you look familiar. And they say, oh, I heard your story. And you know, I tried what you said we should do when you were sharing your story, and I have a baby. And I see a precious baby that I'm not even aware of. And I'm like, thank God it's paying off, you understand? So surrogacy now is like everywhere in Lagos, but back then in 2009, nobody was talking about it. I'm glad I broke that silence. I'm glad a lot of people have found courage to go ahead and try it, and several families have been blessed. Now, what is surrogacy? Let me go into that. Surrogacy is simply when you bring in a woman who is a third party into an equation. So, pardon me, I have a background in mathematics. I speak like a mathematician. Okay, so there is this couple, a husband and a wife. Okay, somebody muted me. All right, so there is this couple, a husband and a wife, usually, who are trying to conceive. and they are not able to do so because the woman has not been able to carry a pregnancy to term, or the woman has been certified unfit to carry a pregnancy, or she's been having several miscarriages and things like that, and they do not know what to do. So they bring in this third party. Can you hear me? So they bring in this third party, a woman of childbearing age, to come in and help them to achieve a pregnancy, carry the pregnancy to term, give birth to the baby, and then hand over the baby. That is basically what surrogacy is. Now, you can either legalize it and have some form of agreement or a contract to protect all the parties, or it could be verbal, depending on who the person is to you. Yeah. But I'm just laying a background to what surrogacy is. Now, surrogacy is of two types. We have traditional surrogacy, we have gestational surrogacy. In traditional surrogacy, the surrogate mother, that is the carrier to birth of that baby, is also biologically related to that child, in that the baby would have her DNA, her eggs are used in the process, and when she gives birth, she's handing over a baby that is genetically, DNA, biologically related to her. You understand it? So the process for traditional surrogacy, usually in times past, was through direct intercourse with the man who wants to have a baby. So you find in the olden days, you find some relatives coming to stay with this particular couple that has been trying to conceive and they don't have a child. And then this relative suddenly shoots a baby. And then at the end of the day, she gives birth and then disappears, and the baby is left with this couple. I think a call is trying to come in because I'm using my phone, but it's okay. Can you hear me now? Now, so she's the traditional surrogate. So we used to find those sort of arrangements in times past, where you find this family that has been trying to conceive, suddenly have a child appear somewhere through a relative who has given birth, or through an arrangement with a third party that they really do not know, and they pay that person, and that person goes off and leaves the baby with them. Now, this came with all sorts of this came with all sorts of complication, i.e. the surrogates might come and they claim on that child, and when you run a DNA test, they match. So a lot of people were afraid of doing that. Another way traditional surrogacy happens is through artificial insemination. So the girl says, no, I don't want to sleep with the man. Or the man says, no, I don't want to sleep with this girl. I don't want sex with anybody apart from my partner. And then they agree to go to a hospital to find some help. Then they get the man's sperms and then do artificial insemination, or what you call IUI, in that the man's sperms are introduced into the lady through her private part when she's about to ovulate, and then they watch for fertilization. So when that happens and the girl gets pregnant, the baby she's going to birth is directly biologically related to her. Another way traditional surrogacy happens is through IVF. So this lady agrees to go to the hospital, they harvest the eggs from her, take the sperms from the man, who is the husband to another person, okay, and then fertilize in a dish in the laboratory, which is the in vitro part. Fertilization is happening outside her body, yeah. And then the sperm and the egg fuse together, they form an embryo, and then the embryo is transferred back into the lady's uterus, and if she's pregnant, she carries to term, she delivers. But it's traditional surrogacy in that her eggs are used. Gestational surrogacy, on the other side, which is the one I did, does not involve the DNA matter of the person carrying the pregnancy. You will say, how? My children were born by an Indian, a white Indian, and they do not look like this woman in any way. They are exactly like me. They look my daughter is my split image. In fact, if she walks into this room, you don't need to explain who her mother is. She's logo. She's rank Xerox. She's photocopy. She looks exactly like me. Yeah. And it's because my eggs were used. The eggs of the surrogate woman were bypassed, her ovaries were bypassed. So what the hospital does is gestational surrogacy is strictly through IVF. We get the eggs from the commissioning mother, we get the sperms from the commissioning father, and we fertilize in the IVF room. And the surrogate is prepared to receive the embryos from this couple. And her uterus is prepared. We knock down her ovaries so that her ovaries are at rest. She's not producing any eggs. And then this embryo is transferred into the uterus of the surrogate. The way the Lord has designed it, once that embryo fuses, once the embryo forms, it splits and starts to grow by itself. So the embryo starts to divide, it's forming its own amniotic fluid, it's forming its own blood system, it's forming its own placenta. It's not taking anything whatsoever from the person that is carrying it. That is the way the Lord has formed the embryo. Okay, so that embryo is not taking anything from the person who is going to host, because it has taken everything she needs from the people contributing the DNA matter. What the embryo needs is sustenance for 9 months, i.e. an incubator, a place to keep it warm under the normal temperature that the Lord has ordained, and then somebody to give it food and nourishment and shelter. That is all. And that is what the womb of the gestational surrogate does for that embryo. And when she gives birth, the baby is separated from her at birth. She does not have any DNA material in that child. So that's what surrogacy is all about. For gestational surrogacy, which is what is encouraged and practiced now, we advise that you have a legal document backing you up so that the rights of all the parties are protected. You know what you're supposed to do. The surrogate knows what they're supposed to do. The hospital knows what they're supposed to do. All parties, including the rights of the child, are protected, and usually it goes hitch-free. I hope I've thoroughly explained the process.
Yes. I have learned even better than the other day, because I heard you say it, but now I think you are more relaxed. You broke it down better. I really got a lot. The traditional surrogacy was practiced even in my family. We have people in my family that are a result, that's a product of traditional surrogacy. For instance, my grand uncle got married to his childhood love. They were so close, but the lady did not have a child. And the lady later asked him to get married to someone else, which was the normal practice in the Igbo culture. So she married a wife, and the wife came, and the arrangement was that the wife would have a baby. The first child of that wife was going to be taken from her and given. The moment she wins the child, taken away from her and given to my grand aunt as a child. Unfortunately, the woman died after, but they married yet another woman for him. And that lady came. The first child she had was a son. And of course, the arrangement was already made. This agreement everything was agreed upon. She married and came in, finished breastfeeding, and they took my grand cousin now and gave to Mama. So Mama had 2 children, her daughter, her first daughter, and this son. Then this lady that was third wife to my grand uncle, that had other children. But as Mama raised these 2, she raised the other ones. You can tell the difference between the way they behave. Mama raised these 2 as her own, and they were closer like this than even the other children. All my grand cousin knows that this is his biological mom, but was Mama.
That was his mom.
But, yes. And the reason why what you are projecting now is a gestational surrogacy is what happened after. It brought divide in the family. It brought that quarrel. Of course, if this woman agreed, before she got married, that her first child was going to be given to mama, boy or girl. She agreed. But the moment that happened, because she was in the system and it was her child, it was somehow for her, that child was taken away and given to another woman. And they never saw eye to eye until mama died. And she died later. But it was, one of those things that I grew up observing as a child. And other cases too that happened that happened in my family, especially. I saw it growing up. So it's better to stick to the gestational surrogacy and avoid all the problems that come with traditional surrogacy. So it shouldn't even be a strange topic to us, because we've been practicing it, but people just don't. I think people learn what they want. So they were doing it in the olden days, and
they
stopped it. And then instead of us to cast our minds back and understand what our people were doing and find a way to refine it and make it better for us now, people cut their minds off. And thank God you're doing now, because bringing the awareness that a lot of people need. In this case, a friend of mine, her daughter just turned, I think she will turn 1 next month. She also did surrogacy, and she was telling me that if she had known about it, she has waited for more than 13 years. Imagine that if she had known about it, she would have done it. It took her all this while to do it. And she has a beautiful baby girl now that is almost a year. She's about to start working now. So we thank God for that. At least those questions are being answered. So I'll shift this a little bit further. You already covered everything that we need to know, at least on a one-on-one like this on surrogacy. I want to find out from you who you recommend this surrogacy for, even though I know, but I want you to say more about it. Who do you recommend do it? Yes.
Okay. By when we look at standards, ethically, surrogacy is for someone who cannot conceive by herself and bear a child. Ethically, that is what it is for. So it is that the woman must have a medical condition, disturbing her from being able to have her own baby, or a medical or physical condition that is life-threatening, or that will turn life-threatening should she get pregnant. Those are the people that are basically advised to go for surrogacy. And I'll give examples. I had mentioned myself that I had fibroids, recurrent fibroids, even after removal, they came back again. And even after that, I now developed terrible additions, and then it translated into Asherman's. So some people have recurring fibroids and they've gone back to back into the theater, and it's still going on, and they are really bad. So for those people, rather than risk their lives, they are advised to go for surrogacy. Excuse me. Some have additions, like I said, Asherman's syndrome. Some have underdeveloped uterus. If you look at them, their wombs are like that of pre-puberty state. They are not fully developed. They lack something in their hormones to help them develop, and so they cannot carry a baby. For some of them, they do well with treatment and some hormonal replacement therapies, and they're able to achieve conception. But some do not. Some do not even have. They have congenital deformities. They do not have some women don't have wombs at all. They were born without that. Some were born with double uterine cavity. I'm not going to go too technical, but imagine a womb that is not bigger than this size, now splitting into two, and then it's narrowed. So for some women, fortunately, a cavity is bigger than the other one, so they are still able to achieve pregnancy in one. For some, they are like rudimentary, very tiny. They can't really do anything. Some of them do well when they go through surgery, and that splits, that divide happens and they form a bigger one. For some of them, no, there's really nothing what we can do. Curiously, I knew about this case how many years ago, when someone I met said she had 2 wombs, and I was like, haba. She had 2 wombs and 2 cervix.
Never heard that before now.
And so she will put family planning in one and then still get pregnant. And, and she had like 13 children. And she was wondering, how am I getting pregnant? I have family planning. Until they told her that, look, mother, you have 2 uterus and then you have 2 cervix. And so she gets pregnant in one, she's blocking the other. Anyways, that's the other side. And I looked at her and I was like, what an incredible lie.
Wow.
I didn't know it happened, yeah, until I got into this field. So you have some people who have that split. I won't get too technical. And then you have some people who are going through renal transplantation, they have kidney failure, and they're going through dialysis and all, and they cannot go through pregnancy. You have some who are going through chemotherapy, and because of the kind, or radiotherapy, and because of the kind of treatment they are going through, they can't carry a pregnancy. Some have the sickle cell gene, the full SS trait, and they're constantly in and out of the hospital. They are not advised to carry. Some have pregnancy-induced hypertension. They form eclampsia. Some have gestational diabetes. Some have some physical debilitating illnesses. Some spontaneously abort. So their bodies recognize pregnancy as a foreign matter, as an alien, and everything attacks that pregnancy until it comes out. Some have spontaneous miscarriages, because the floor of their pelvis is not able to hold the pregnancy, and there's really nothing you can do, even when you put the stitch and you tighten the internal ulcer and everything. So you have all of those things coming up, and some have a phobia. I must mention it. Some have a phobia for pregnancy. Maybe something has happened in times past to a loved one, or maybe they lost a loved trauma, yes, and they don't heal from it. So they have a phobia for pregnancy. They do not want to get pregnant. And then you now have the ones that do not wish to carry a pregnancy because of their career, or because they do not want something disturbing their body image. So I call those vanity reasons. Okay, so because we have reasons. And you can choose your vanity, right? Yes. So if you can afford it. So we have people who choose surrogacy, but ethically, surrogacy is for people who have a difficulty carrying a pregnancy to term, or they have a condition that can become life-threatening if they do so. And on the converse, who can be a surrogate mother? It is not everyone that can be a surrogate mother. Okay, the person who is volunteering to be a surrogate must, of a necessity, must have had at least 1 living child, preferably 2, must be of the fertile years, and for us in precious conceptions is between age 26 and okay, I'm using my phone, so several calls are coming. I'll just keep bouncing them off. Okay. So conventionally between age 21 and 35, but for us in precious conceptions, we prefer between age 26 and 38. Because we have discovered that people between the ages of 21 and 25 are a lot immature, and they are not able to handle the demands of the surrogacy process, because it's a lot more than you just waking up and getting pregnant. Yeah. And then the person must pass the medical psychological screening, and they go in for counseling. And then the person must be able to demonstrate that they will be committed to the cause and serious, and will be able to commit to the process and take their medicines and injections as should. They must not be drinking or smoking or exposed to pollution or alcohol or tobacco. So they must be of good health, and they must have good lifestyle habits. So when they show up in our office and we start to talk to them and put them through the screening process, we now start to sieve out those who do not fit into our eligibility criteria, and then we now bump them up for medical screening, where the hospitals are now checking for their hormone levels and checking to see the condition of their wombs, to see if they can go through their physical fitness, to see whether they can go through this nicely.
Thank you again for that. Now, what do you say to, or about, not to, about people who, the other day when we were having this conversation, I mentioned something. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We are Christians, you and I, and we have seen a lot in the Christian family. This one I want to ask now is, there are people who keep believing God, even though all these things you mentioned have been told them by their doctors over and over and over. There's a case of a lady that I heard. She used to work with one of the big, I don't want to mention the name, one of the big multinationals in Lagos. And she had 4 girls, but she was not okay. She wanted a boy. You know that thing about a boy for my people. So she kept wanting to conceive a boy, but they were all girls, girls, girls. So when she got to the 4th one, she still carried another pregnancy. And when she was confirmed that it was a boy, I mean, like, she was so happy. She was so excited. And all of a sudden, she had some complications. And the doctors told her that she won't be able to carry through that pregnancy. And the baby died in her womb. So they told her she had to abort. This woman was like, you know what? You are saying your own, you know? She believed, and she was so, strong-headed about it, that nobody was telling her anything. Even her husband could not get her to go and evacuate her womb. She refused. She kept moving like that. So she was at work one day, and while she was working, I don't know, it's like the thing was coming down by itself, and she just had a discharge, an awful sleep, and some pain just came out of her. She fell and fainted in the office. They had to rush her to the hospital. Unfortunately, her womb was gone. They decayed so much. They not only evacuated the features, the dead features, they had to remove
her uterus.
Yeah. She was even unconscious. So the husband signed, just to make her come back to life. And then she woke up without a womb. So I have heard a lot of stories. People will tell someone. My own cousin lost his wife to this. Now, this is another story. I like to bring out stories because it helps people to relate to what we're saying. The husband and his older brother were living in the same house. So his older brother's wife could not birth the child. She needed a CS to birth her child. So they did a CS for her. She came back. This other wife of the younger brother would not let this woman rest. She kept on, taunting her, kept on saying that she couldn't even birth a child and all of that, how she had birthed at the time she had birthed for. Unfortunately for her, she took in again and she got to the hospital. They told her she couldn't deliver, that she couldn't birth that child, that she had to go for a surgery. She said over her dead body. And that was exactly what happened because she died. She and her husband said, no way, she would birth it. And she didn't. She couldn't push out the child and she died in the process. And they said, cut her open and brought out the child.
Now the baby.
My cousin married.
And the baby,
the baby lived. The baby lived, yes. So my cousin married another one. So this happens especially with us women. A lot of us, I believe God, and I know I'm a Christian, I believe too, but at what point can you talk to them? Because I am tired of trying to explain something to people. Yes, you believe, but is there a way that you can communicate this thing that yes, you believe, but as much as you're having faith, you can also allow medicine and science to work for you.
Okay. I'm going to say 2 things, and I'm going to say it in a very roundabout way. If you know me, I say things in a roundabout way, and I come back to the point. Number 1 is, it is only God that gives life. Satan is not a life-giving spirit. I repeat, Satan is not a life-giving spirit. It is only God that releases life. If you know the amount of energy, faith energy that you demonstrate when you are going through IVF, you will fear God. You do not take such things. You do not take such things for granted. Because what are the odds? Okay, let me use my example. My womb was bad. I had PCOS. My eggs were nowhere. Yeah. They will stimulate me. I'll have 23, 24 eggs. And at the end of the day, 2 will be struggling to make it. Struggling. And I'll bloat like this. The very first cycle I went for, I bloated so much. I had hyperstimulation. The doctors had to put in drips into my hand and they were poking me everywhere to control the effect of the hormonal assault on my body.
Wow.
And then my husband had his own issue with sperm. And they told us that our chances of getting our own baby was very slim. See, Shebi, I said I put a book. Let them go and look for my book. I wrote my story live. And get ready for a box of tissues. You will cry, tire. The chances of our getting our own children naturally was very slim. We had all of this karyotyping, all these genetic tests, this and that, all of those wahala you can ever think of in this life came at me. Do you understand? But when it was time for the Lord to step in, he stepped in full force and he said to me, this time you shall be successful. I was under anesthesia and his Holy Spirit descended into that room in India, into that hospital in India, when we were having our 3rd cycle, June 22nd, 2011. I will never forget in my life. I had an encounter with the Spirit of God that changed my life and my perception about IVF and surrogacy. Look, it is only God that gives life. The Lord descended onto that hospital that day, like it was described in Genesis 1, that the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the deep and was brooding. And he said, let there be light. That was exactly what happened to me on that day, June 22nd, 2011, when his spirit descended upon that hospital in India and it was brooding. And it went in whoosh. I was under anesthesia. And he sat down in the incubator room. And he said to me, this time, you shall be successful. We transferred 4 embryos. All the embryos came alive. What are you talking about? See, to the point, but again, this is the second thing I'm getting into. The expression of your faith is unique and peculiar to you. People may not understand it. And because they do not understand it, they say you are not in faith, you are wrong. But the Bible says to me that faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It does not say that I will see it before I believe it. Faith says you don't see it, yet you believe it. Faith says that this is the victory that overcomes your faith. So it is your faith is victory. It's not the evidence that is victory. We should not mix it up. It is your faith that is victory. So long as you stand on the word of God, the word says none shall be barren. The word did not say everybody shall be shooting bellies and pregnant. I did not find that one in the Bible. If you find it in the Bible, please come and open it to me, and I beg to, and I will say, okay, I bow to your submission. I didn't see it anywhere in the Bible that everybody will pop bellies and shoot bellies. I did not. I saw none shall be barren. And I saw examples in the Bible of how God bypassed natural laws to give people children. He bypassed natural law to make the Lord Jesus. I don't want to go into that before people start to say I'm speaking blasphemy and things. But he bypassed natural law. And Mary proved to be a surrogate for the Lord. Because the Lord needed a human being to carry life. And no angel can carry life. No angel can birth life. It is only a human being that can carry life and bring the process of parturition. And it says to us in Genesis that when he called all the living things, he called them with their own, he called them to life with their seed in them. So when he created all the plants and animals, they came with their seed in them. That is God. He came with the power of resurrection. Nobody can give life except Satan is not a life-giving spirit. I'll say it. I'm getting very angry now because sometimes I feel like slapping. I feel like slapping some Christians. The Lord calls himself omniscience. Science is in his name. Science is observation and discovery and practice. He formed man from clay and he breathed life into man. It is only God that gives life. So people tell me that you do IVF, you are assisting God. Who are you to assist God? You, ordinary clay. If he decides to snuff life out of you today, who can stop him? You are not assisting God. So the same way you are looking at me over Zoom and you are embracing it as technology, it is the same way that if you have not been able to have children yourself, there is technology and science, the knowledge that God has revealed for mankind. He says he will bless us with everything that pertains to our life and godliness. What are you talking about? And it says that he has given us the knowledge of trees and herbs for the healing of the nations. See, everything that he has given us is for our good. People may pervert it. You understand me? People may pervert it. You get? We do not excuse that. But the Lord says that he has given us knowledge so that we can have, so that our joy can be full. There was one day I was preparing for a seminar, and I said, Lord, what do I tell these people? He said, say to them, I have not denied them having children. I have given them all that pertains to life and godliness. So if you are there and you're looking at me or you're hearing me, it is not the Lord. If the Lord has not told you expressly, wait. And if he has not said to you, because people know how to hear God in very funny ways, but when it comes to other things, they will say they don't know what he's saying. If he has not said to you expressly, do not do IVF, there's nothing stopping you. If he has not said to you expressly, wait for me, because there was a time he said to me, wait. He said it, wait. There was the time he said, don't pray anymore. And I will go somewhere and the person will say, let us pray for everyone here. And then he will get to my turn and say, the Lord said we should not pray for this woman. And I'll just be looking. Because he has said it to me. Though don't ask me anymore, I have done it. There was a time he said to me, when you are ready, I am ready. And I was like, I mean, so it is me that is not ready again. Do you understand? And the way I got to India was miraculous. The surrogate that eventually carried my children, her name is Pooja. Zyna, if I tell you about this woman, again, read my book. If I tell you about this woman and how an emblem left Nigeria with me to India, that emblem carried Pooja's name.
Wow.
And all the other surrogates that I tried did not work until I met the one called Pooja. And I did not know. And one day, after she got pregnant, it was my nightgown. The nightgown is still in my house. So I didn't throw that nightgown away. It was a nightgown that someone that came from India gave me. The person came from India and she gave me 2 nightgowns. She said, I hear you're going to India for your treatment. You need this nightgown in the hospital. Oh yeah, take 2. And she gave me 2. And I carried the thing and I packed in my bag and I went to India. I did not know that the Lord was speaking to me about the lady that would be my surrogate. And so she got pregnant. And I was like, I have worn all of this nightgown. The armpits don't tear finish. Let me throw them away. And I threw one away and nothing happened. And I threw the other one away and I had a check in my spirit. No, don't throw it away. Check the label. And I was like, check the label. Check which label. What is this? And I went to check the label. And her name, Pooja, was written on the label of the dress that followed me from Nigeria. And I went to check the other tag. It was not Pooja. So I didn't have a caution not to throw. I just removed the thing from the dustbin. I washed it. It's still in my house. It's still in my house. Or was it when she was 7 months pregnant? Or was it when she met me and she said to me that a prophecy has been said over her life that she was going to have X number of children, and that she has 2 already of her own, and that she will give me the remaining. I was looking at this girl like this. And then she got pregnant with my quadruplets. And the doctor said, Toyin, 4 babies cannot continue inside Puja. We have to terminate 2. And I said, I will do no such thing. I can't terminate 2. He said, yeah, don't be greedy. I said, me, greedy. We can't terminate. I'm going to talk to my father. And I went to my room and I spoke to the Lord. And I said, Lord, you know what I have told you. You won't give me what I can't bear. You won't do this, you won't do that. I can't terminate. It is not my hand that will take life. Do you understand? But the doctor is saying that it's my turn to complication and things like that. I'm handing over to you. Can you please have your way? And by himself, 2 babies discontinued. By himself. Wow. It hurts me. I cried. Anytime I see my children, I still remember those ones, and they know they were called from the beginning. But the Lord settled it for me. Was it when they were 7 months in utero, in pregnancy, and they didn't have enough blood supply going through their brain and their placenta and everything? And the doctor was like, Toyin, I'm going to birth your children preterm. I'm preparing Puja for delivery. The blood level should not fall below this. The oxygen level should not fall below, because he trained me. I could read the scan machine very, very well. I understood what was going on. And he said to me, we are preparing her. I said, doctor, what is worst case scenario? He said, it mustn't pass this level. That once it goes beyond this level, I'm bringing them out. I looked at him, I said, you do what you know how to do. I will do what I know how to do. It won't go beyond this level. And I went back into my room and I said to the Lord in prayer, God, help me. This is not how we agreed. And he said to me, I don't start what I have not finished. He said, I do not start what I have not finished. I said, yeah, it's okay, sir. I understand you. And they brought them out that beautiful February 17, 2022, 2012. They brought out my children. The 2 of them were not breathing. I did like this. Yeah, God, this is not how we planned it. They were not breathing. I was like, God, this is not how we planned it. Oh 2 of 4 children. Please now. And I'm sure he was just looking at me. And my husband said, you know he has spoken to you already. He won't start what he has not finished, because he sees the end from the beginning. Do you understand? Yeah. He sees the end from the beginning. The Lord sees the end. So he shows us a picture of the end, and then he takes us through from the beginning to walk in the path. I'm preaching now. I wasn't planning to.
Yes. Go ahead.
So he shows you the end, and you see a picture. So I tell people who want children, what do you see? What do you see? Why do you want children? What do you see? So it's not just that I want to be Mama Lagbaja. Anybody can be Mama Lagbaja. What is that special thing in it for you? What vision do you see? And so one of the assignments I put to you when you come into my academy is do a vision board. What do you see? Write it down. Make it plain, and then run with it, because it's easier for you to now run with the vision. Okay? When you make it so plain and you put it to the side. You understand? Yeah. So he showed me a picture. I saw twins right from before I got married. And I said to people, I'm going to have twins as my first. And some people will say, you never get born one finish. You want to? I said, that's what I want. Some people will tell me, I saw your baby in the dream. I said, how many did you see? I said, I see one. I said, you didn't sleep well. You didn't see well. Go back to sleep and dream it again. It was that real. It was that real to me that it was twins. I had their names sorted out. You will invite me to a birthday party and you are sharing party pack and you pass me. I'll say, excuse me, I have twins. And they'll say, where are the children? I say, you are the one not seeing them. Me, I see them. I have twins. I need party pack. I will collect party pack for twins. When the twins came, some of those things in those party packs, I used for them. Do you understand? I didn't buy cots. I didn't buy baby things before they came. No, until my surrogate got pregnant. I didn't buy all of those things. But there were specific things I said. Every member of my family knew my children's names even before they were born. We formed songs for them. We will sing and dance and everything for them. And so I'm sure some people will be thinking, who is this mad woman? But this is where I'm going. The expression and the demonstration of your faith is such that if it is contrary to someone else's belief, they will say you are not in faith. But you are the one, you hold it to God. It is between your faith level, your demonstration of faith is between you and the Lord. And even if it's not making sense, let it just be faith to you, yeah? And I encourage people to seek medical help. So there's no use flogging a dead horse. And this is where the advantage comes in. You've not been able to get pregnant. There's a dead horse somewhere, yeah? But the Bible says that in that problem, there's a way of escape. So you flip it. There's a dead horse. Flip it. What is your advantage? Flip it. When you recognize your advantage, hit the advantage on the head in faith, and you break through and you have your response. So for a woman, it might be that her ovaries are not producing good eggs anymore, or she's menopausal, or she has premature ovarian failure, or maybe she's old, her eggs are not viable enough. God has given you the ability to be blessed through egg donation. And you say, why? This is not going to carry my blood. Excuse me. So one day I was talking in a meeting, and I said, do you know what? What's the name of this guy? Jacob worked for his uncle Laban because he wanted to marry Rachel, and then eventually they tricked him, yeah. But when he was working for his uncle Laban, he was tending to the flock, and some of the flock were feeble. Can you remember that story? Some of the flock were feeble. And Laban schemed Jacob and wanted to give him all the feeble ones. And the Lord showed him a trick. Yes. Put this one and put this one in front of the mandrake and let them mate. Yes. And then he brought a cross. Kai. See, I was speaking in that meeting that day, and that thing dropped into my head. And I'm like, what knowledge did the Lord release at that time? So your eggs are weak and feeble. Your eggs are weak and feeble. And the doctor is saying you can't have a child. And the Lord told Jacob, cross it. And he produced strong one. Cross it. And he produced strong one. See, medicine has evolved. These are the days when the Bible prophecy of none shall be barren comes to pass. If you don't have a child right now, and it is not by choice, it is not God's fault too. So listen to me and listen good. If your eggs are feeble, cross it. So the way we do it in Precious Conceptions, we will give you a donor that looks like you. She will carry your blood group. She will carry your genotype. She will carry, unless you are AS and your husband is AS, then we won't want you to now, give birth after such a long time and then have the possibility of having a child that has this sickle cell gene, unless you want it. If you want it, that is fine. Yeah. We'll match the genotype, we'll match the surrogate, the complexion will match, the blood group will match, facial resemblance as much as we can. So that when that baby comes, that baby looks like you. It's amazing. That baby looks like you. So knowledge has been released for us to benefit. So there's nothing stopping you from pursuing medical help, from going to the hospital for help if you've not been able to achieve this successfully in your room. Again, I go back to the option, the example of using Zoom. I always go back to the example of using an aeroplane to go to London. You can as well walk on your foot. If you want to go, you can walk on your foot to London. It might take you how many light years? Or it might take you 5-6 hours. You choose your choice. You understand? So before banging too much head on the road,
Thank you very much. That was powerful. And then my final question for you is, what's your legal take on this surrogacy? I've heard someone tell me that he doesn't think surrogacy is legal in Nigeria. And I said, if it's not legal, how come hospitals do it? So is it legal?
How come we are doing it publicly?
Exactly.
If it's not legal, how come we are talking about it publicly and I'm showing my
Exactly.
face everywhere? And
Exactly.
almost all the TV stations in Nigeria have interviewed me, plus the BBC and Getty Images and AFP and all. So if it's illegal, why would I have the boldness to talk about it and they've not arrested me? So the thing is this: what we have going in Nigeria is that prior to now, the law has been silent. And what I mean by the law has been silent is because is that the law has not been active. People have not been, like most laws in Nigeria, people have not been actively regulating and actively chasing and following up on the laws. But we are guided by a framework, rules and regulations as directed by the association in charge of fertility and reproductive health in Nigeria. That's the AFRH. And we have guidelines and framework that we use to practice ethically in Nigeria. And in times past, we've had cases where people who have been through surrogacy have been mandated to produce parental order, especially because they now have to take those children out to overseas countries where surrogacy is altruistic, in those countries, and the person who is the one giving birth is regarded as the birth mother in those nations. So for you to take out that child to those countries, you will need to have the surrogate waive off her parental rights, and then they institute parental order. And we've had several of such cases in court where the commissioning parents, are given the right to have their children taken to their countries of citizenship and countries of birth. And so it's no more, the law is no more silent in Nigeria. It's getting active. And the Fertility Association, the AFRH, and the government, especially the government of Lagos State, have been actively engaging in discussions, promoting laws, promoting policies and regulations that will guide this practice. So in the next 10 years, you will see a lot more action, especially when people like us are now very vocal and calling for regulation and putting ourselves out in that space to provide the information and the structure that is needed to get these things done. So yeah, you can get it done legally in Nigeria. You will need to have a contract, a properly worded contract, recognizing the responsibilities, the liabilities of all the parties, and then of course protecting all the rights of all the parties, and then all the indemnities and the waivers that are possible. You will need to have all of that documented in your contract. As at now, okay, so let me back up a bit. Documented in your contract and get it, done by a lawyer, and then get it notarized and so that you can present it in a court of law should that need to happen. Yeah. But basically, what you need is counseling. Let everybody know what is going on. If everybody wants to be represented by their individual lawyers, that's fine. Let them have counsel appropriately. And then I wanted to say something, but that I've forgotten. But yeah, when I remember, I'll bring it up.
I hope you do. I hope you do remember it. Does it have to do with pros and cons? Because that's the next thing. I had said final question, but I remember I have two other questions I wanted to push. One is a little bit related to the last topic you just handled now. So in a case where someone comes to Precious Conceptions to have to undergo surrogacy, do you mandatorily make them know the donors, or sorry, the surrogate mom?
Oh,
or is
okay.
it by choice?
Oh, okay. So this is what I wanted to remember. Thank you for shooting my brain in that direction. All right. So as it is in, okay. So the type of surrogacy I had was an open one. I knew my surrogate mother. I managed her. I was friends with her. We are still friends till today. Like I said, my children know her, and every once in a while we call her. It's been a while since we called her. So I should check up on her really, and it's not a secret in my family how we had children. But because of the culture, the exposure in the country is not so huge at the moment. A lot of people still opt for anonymity. So we are able to provide that level of anonymity that you need. We protect the identities of both parties, the commissioning parents and then the surrogate. And they never meet. They never meet. So it's possible to have them never meet at all. But in such cases, most of the time, the commissioning parents have a profile of of their surrogate. They have an idea what her first name is. They have an idea what her family background is, and some of them have an idea what she looks like, because they see a picture. Yeah, but they never meet. Now, some will say they want a sort of open relationship where they can meet with the surrogate. Yes, we encourage that, but it is guided, because again, we have to protect extortion. We have to protect against extortion and undue pressure and undue interference. So we balance that out. We have a way we do that. So if that is what you would prefer, because some people will say, how can somebody carry my baby and I don't know who the person is? If that is your preference, we are able to manage it for you so that both parties are still decently protected and you're not trespassing on privacy.
That's a good one. Then the final one I have is the pros and cons. I know in your talk you must have mentioned one or two things that tend to, but just to hit that nail on the head, what are the advantages of surrogacy and what are the disadvantages if there are? What are the things you want to warn people about if there are any who want to go into it? So what do you have to say about that?
Okay, so let me start with the pro. Okay, so you've been trying for a long time to have children, now you can't, and then you decide to go for surrogacy. Yeah, it might be your day, and you get lucky, and God blesses you with a child. So you have a child, that's the big deal. That's the big deal out of it, and you can breastfeed. You can breastfeed. Even without carrying a pregnancy, you can breastfeed. So you still have that sort of, people say it's bonding, but you don't breastfeed a child and say that is the only way you bond. That is not the only way you bond. Otherwise, people won't be throwing away their babies after breastfeeding them for so long or pushing them out through their vaginas. So that is not how you bond. You bond in your heart. So you're a mother first in your heart before your body. Yeah. So yes, but you have the advantage of breastfeeding, and then you are able to bypass all the issues that might be going on, and you don't endanger your life if you have a life-threatening situation, or and then again, for some people it helps them protect their marriages. But I always say, a baby is not super glue. Baby is not super glue. The marriage that will break, whether the baby comes or not. Do you understand? The baby is not super glue.
Yes.
So if there is something happening in your marriage and you think a baby will cement it, my sister, the Bible says if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? It's only a matter of time. Yes, pressure and stress will come because of infertility. But if it shakes your marriage so much that you think the only way you can salvage that relationship is by bringing in a stranger, a small child that does not have any say or control, it is that baby that will separate you. Because the stress of now managing that baby will separate you if you guys don't have it together. Yeah. So the advantage outweighs the disadvantage. Some will say, can the surrogates wake up one day and run away with my baby? It is possible if you do it the wrong way. Because some people like to learn, some people like to bypass intermediaries like us and want to do it themselves. And I absolutely do not have any problem with that. If you want to do that, I can train you on what to do, what to look out for, and how to go about it, so that at least you will still have a successful surrogacy experience and not cry from it. Yeah. But some people want shortcuts, and they want people they can exploit. And so they promise them heaven and earth or they see that this girl is suffering, a 200,000 can solve her problem, a 500,000 can solve her problem, and then they lure her into one form of agreement, and then they promise to do heaven and earth for her. And this girl, they forget that they are taking this girl to a highbrow center, because to do IVF surrogacy is not cheap, and you don't do that in ordinary hospitals. So you are going to hospitals where you are exposing her to affluence, and she's seeing other girls coming who are surrogates, and these girls are very smart. In these days of Google, they will Google what they are paying surrogates and check for surrogacy agencies. Some of them come to my office, they have compensation plan for XYZ, and they are negotiating with you. This is what they want to. They are very smart. So don't think you want to take advantage of someone and play on her stupidity. It will boomerang on you. You get? Fair is fair. If you want to spend money on surrogacy, spend money on surrogacy. Fair is fair. Compensate this person for her time and sacrifice and inconvenience. And if she's doing it for free of charge, then that is. But if you cut corners, it will bounce on you. She will either extort you or run away with your pregnancy just to traumatize you. She doesn't need your baby because she has one she can't feed well, usually herself. You understand? So those are the cons. You will only face the disadvantage when you decide to cut corners.
That's good. Thank you very much. I mean, I've learned a lot, and I believe that everyone and anyone who's going to watch this video later is going to come back and either contact you or contact me. Those who are waiting, I mean, like you said something and it stood out. You said, in this age and time, with the amount of technology and science we have going on, if you are waiting and it's not by choice, it is your choice.
Yes.
To put it there. Yes. You're waiting and it's not by choice, it's actually your choice, because
yes.
Even if nothing else works, you can try the surrogacy. If you don't have eggs, you can have an egg donor. If your husband's sperm is not okay, you can have a sperm donor. You can have another. It is still.
And you can even adopt. Do you understand?
Exactly.
It's such a beautiful thing.
In fact, next Friday, this week Friday, we are talking about adoption. That's the topic. We're going to start. It's going to be a four weeks talk on adoption. I shared a link. I shared a link, a form. I shared an online form on Google online form for people to tell me what they think about adoption. And I've read a lot of things. I'm still reading. They're still coming in. People's understanding about adoption and other things. So that's another kettle of fish. And I'm going to bring in at least one or two speakers to add, to add color to it. I don't just want to talk about my story. A lot of people have story over and over. I will still, touch it, but I need someone else or some other people to talk about it and let people understand. So I really appreciate this time, and I've learned a lot, and at least this gives it a good direction for people who are ardent watchers of my program, people who are looking forward to having their own children. Like I said, a friend told me this year when her baby came, she said, if she had known, all this while. So go and wait. She did surrogacy here in Abuja, and her baby is about to walk now. At the end of the day, is that smile on your face. When we finished our adoption, and I shared, like I told you, my baby came during the pandemic. I could have lied. I could have told people that I took him. Anybody.
Yes, now.
So some people are asking me, why did you make it? I say, you people don't understand.
Exactly. So this is the last thing I want to say. We are the ones encouraging stigmatization.
Exactly.
We.
Exactly.
So nobody saw me for 2 years. I was in India for 2 years. Nobody saw me. Just like you. I was on lockdown.
Yes.
I could have come back to Nigeria and say, praise
so your children
God.
Look like you. So
they look exactly like me.
Exactly.
They look exactly.
Who would doubt you? Name, and then and at that time there was no surrogacy in Nigeria that much. So nobody would have doubted.
No. Even some doctors were looking at me like American Wonder. That's it. Because I was lactating. Do you get? I was able to lactate. I was lactating. And they're like, well, you didn't get pregnant. How did this thing happen? And you're saying it's an Indian. Where are your children? And I will show them and say, I know it's not possible. It's not an Indian that carried this black baby. I will say, but it's my egg. And I will educate doctors. I will educate doctors on the process of surrogacy.
My goodness.
So it's so easy to keep quiet, just like you. It was lockdown. Oh, maybe you had opportunity of being with your husband and then you were relaxed.
Yes.
Something happened. But people choose to fuel stigmatization because they keep quiet. There's absolutely, I have shared my testimony on pulpits of churches. I will say it anywhere.
Yes.
I don't get shame. I don't get shame.
I am proud of my story.
I am proud of my journey.
Exactly.
And that is the first point of counseling when I'm talking with my clients. If you are proud, if you embrace the journey you're about to embark on, you do not have absolutely any problem. So people ask me, should they wear pregnancy dummy, the prosthesis? Should they wear, and there's several questions, but at the end of the day, it comes down to your wife. It comes down to you get. So we are the ones fueling stigmatization. We are the ones not allowing the truth to thrive and for all of these options to thrive. And so I'm going to stop now by saying that you're not a mom because you are able to get pregnant and birth a child. You are a mom because you are able to nurture destinies. God has entrusted a human being into your care. It's a huge responsibility, and motherhood starts from the heart. So whatever option legally that comes to you, please embrace it. Don't be afraid. Don't think of what people will say. People are saying already now. They are talking about you, don't you know? That Lagbaja does not have children. What is she doing? They told me, you do all of these university girls. Who knows what she did in the university that she's not able to have a child? They told me, they said it to my face. And I'm like, okay, do you not understand? God, they are talking to you. So anytime they say it, I'll point it back. I say they are talking to you. You are not the one they're abusing. They're abusing you. You get. So because his name is more at stake. His name is more at stake than your reputation, because his word cannot fail, and he has said there's none that will be barren. So he has said it, and that word will come to pass. So the thing is this: put your mind at rest. There's help out there. There's so many options. It's left to you to make up your mind and do not be afraid. And even when you are afraid, please do it afraid. And I'd rather be afraid and do it than be afraid and live in deficit.
And not do it. Yeah. Thank you very much. And for me, I always tell women, it is good to have something doing, especially if you are waiting. Don't sit down. I mean, you cannot be facing two problems at the same time. I have a story of one of my team members, her sister was waiting. This waiting overtook her life, everything about her. She was not stable at work. She was not stable at home and all of that. She just wanted children. And she left her job. She didn't learn anything. She was just going from one prayer house to the other, from one meeting to the other, believing God. And God has a good. How many children God gave her? 1, 2, 3. She no get work. She no get trade. School fees time, she'll start begging her sisters to help her. So what were you doing? We're waiting. These are the things on my program. One of the topics I took was, while waiting, what are you going to do now? If you are climbing your career. You said you went to India to stay for 2 years. Do they go to India when you were in India for 2 years? Was it no money that was sustaining you there? If you had not worked in HR and climbed to the position after 20 years that could sustain you in India for 2 years and be able to pay for all of those.
Don't let us start that one. Don't let us start. Don't let us start. That one is another miracle on its own. Don't let us start. You will read it in my book. But I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. Yes, I get you.
We need to, I always encourage women. Yes, you are waiting, but don't wait and just drop yourself. Be doing something. Be adding. In fact, this is the time to do 2-3 jobs. Have multiple streams of income. Don't know how they are going to come. IVF is expensive. Yes, it's expensive. If it, whatever.
Adoption too is expensive.
Even yes, it's expensive to even raise them. It's expensive. So one needs to be doing something and be looking at it, like you said, paint a picture. If you have that picture painted, it helps you to have your timelines. If you paint a picture that I'm going to have 2 or 3, this is what God has told me. First of all, it boils down to what is God telling you. You and God need to work together, not you and God. When you have that assurance that me and God, we are working, nobody will come and push you aside. And when you have that picture painted, you begin to plan and you work with your plan. And then that takes you to where you're going as you listen to God, as you work on your journey. And don't be ashamed of your journey. Never ever let anybody's story come and outshine you. Because of and born their own, they'll not come and push you aside. No, you be in front as they are dancing. If it's adoption,
you born your own.
I
born my own.
Born your own, I born my own.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Tony. I'm sure
ma'am.
Coming back to you again. I'm so happy that you were able to make out this time today, even with all that happened.
I have to run now. You can see I'm switching to my laptop.
I know. Thank you so much. You can actually leave the room now with your goodbye.
Fantastic.
And
thank you, everybody. Thank you. Please send in your questions. And please don't forget to get my book, Mom at Last. You'll be blessed. You'll be blessed.
Is it where can we get it, please? Where can we get
it? It's on Roving Heights, it's on Amazon, it's on my website, preciousconceptions.com. It comes in print and it comes in e-version. So whatever you want. And you can also reach out to me on email or phone, and then we'll dispatch it to you directly.
Okay. What I would like to get is your details so that when I'm posting this video, I will attach it to it so people can get all of that. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, my people. So you have heard it now. Let me bring myself back to the spotlight. I should be, my screen is having some issues. Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to bring myself to the spotlight. I don't know. I think I'm having some issues here. Let me see, please. Okay. Anyway, it's not working from here, but I'm sure you guys can see me. So we're just going to finish up like this. And by God's grace, I believe that you are all going to join our next program. We're coming back to you on Friday. Today is what now? Today is 13th, right? Friday should be 15th, 13th, 14th, 15th. Okay, Friday should be 16th. Okay, so we're coming back to you with another episode of the Waiting Room with Zyna, but I'm dropping this video. I'm dropping this video on Wednesday, which is Wednesday, 14th September 2022. So if you are watching, you know that it was recorded the day before, which is 13th, and I'm dropping it tomorrow, Friday, Wednesday. So watch it and share it to everyone that you know, and make sure that you join us on Friday, because we are coming back to you on Friday with another episode, and we're going to start conversations on surrogacy. Yes, we're going to start our conversation on surrogacy. That topic, I did share the link, and some of you have started filling the forms. Thank you so much for that. So until I see you again on Friday, which is 16th of September 2022, thank you for watching. Stay tuned to the Waiting Room with Zyna. Make sure you share with everyone you know. Tell everyone you know about this program. Join us everywhere on our social media handles. We are on YouTube, at Zyna TV. We are on Instagram. We are on Zyna TV as well. We are on Facebook, Zyna Obasi on Facebook page, and my profile is Zyna Obasi. So please join and keep watching out, looking out for what new things we have to say to you. I will see you again. Thank you very much for joining. God bless you and good night. Remember, God is the only one that gives children, and our speaker also established the same thing. God gives us children. It's our responsibility to take care of them. So however he gives them to you, take care of them, be happy, and raise them to the glory of his name. Thank you very much. God bless you. Bye.